Hi, I'm Jules Graham, and this is Furious Fiction. With me is Mark Mustian. And who are we talking to today? Who's first up?
We're talking to Dario Castagno, live from Siena, Italy. He is a tour guide. He's an author. He's a wine connoisseur. He told us he's a high school dropout. I'm not sure I believe that. But his books are Too Much Tuscan Sun, Too Much Tuscan Wine, A Day in Tuscany. Dario, welcome.
Hi there. Hi.
Hey, Dario. Nice to have you.
Hi from great Tuscany.
Hey, you still picking olives, or have you finished that?
Well, fortunately, we just finished because if we hadn't, we wouldn't have been possible today.
Well, I'm glad that you're here, and let's get into the books.
Well, and I wanted to ask you, Dario, because you know a lot of your books came from your experience as a tour guide, which seemed pretty remarkable. The people that had you marry them, the people that vomited on the back of your head. Tell us a little bit about. I know you did a book tour in the U.S. when your book was published. Did you know what was your experience in the U.S. as a? Did you get a guide? What did you do with that?
Well, I must say that I've always worked with Americans, and basically one of the strange things was that I'd never been to the US. So the very first time that I went was in 2005, when I was lucky enough to have my very first book published, which was Too Much Tuscan Sun. And so one of the aspects of my first book is my experiences taking tourists on tours which I was conducting, and describing all of the most bizarre characters and maybe awkward situations that I found myself in. This time I was on the other side, and so I thought,
were there awkward situations? You didn't vomit on anybody, I trust?
No, but I remember well. You know, the very first day, for example, when I landed in New York in the Big Apple. First time I'm there, I'm 40 years old. I mean, it was strange that I'd never had the opportunity to visit the US. And you know, one of the very first things that I wanted to do in America, I know it's strange out of all of the possibilities, was to eat a hot dog on the street.
Oh, no. Put your wagon to a star, Dario.
Yeah.
There could be something better.
So, olives and wine to a hot dog in New York. So how was it?
Well, this is what happened. You see, that I think that if you have a hot dog, it has to be accompanied with a beer.
Right.
Right. So I bought a beer. I went to one of the street vendors and I purchased my hot dog, and I started eating the hot dog and drinking the beer directly out of the can. And someone very politely walked up to me and said, "You can't do that." And I didn't understand what I was doing wrong. So I looked at my hands. In one hand, I had a hot dog, and the other I had a can of beer. So one of the two was something which I wasn't supposed to be doing. So with my mentality, I thought, well, there's nothing wrong drinking a beer. Probably of littering the street, so I threw away the hot dog.
Well, that, you know...
So
even myself, I found myself being on the other end, and I was a stupid, silly tourist in a foreign country.
Well, let's talk about your books for just a second. And I know you've co-written these with another author. Tell us, you know, that was somebody that was actually on one of your tours, right?
Well, more than co-author, I would call him a very good friend, and very fortunate to have met Robert Roddy. Robert Roddy lives in Chicago. He's the author of several books. And I happened to accompany him and his partner several times on my tours in Chianti. And it was thanks to him that I got, who encouraged me to write, because I had thrown down a bit my experiences, as I said before, about touring people around the area, and also the other part of the book, which is about myself growing up in this rather savage landscape here of Chianti, and bumming school, and going and seeking for abandoned farmhouses. That's a very long story.
I have a question for you, Dario. The size of your book, it makes you feel when you're reading it that I feel like I'm reading a journal, and you're really generous letting the readers into your life. And then at the end, I think, there are so many secrets inside Italians. There's, you know, you tell a lot, but you leave a lot. A lot is left to interpretation. I like that, because you keep us sort of coming back for more.
Well, in fact, then there was more, because then there was also a sequel which I wrote, because the people fortunately were very enthusiastic, and so I sort of found myself almost obliged. You have to write a sequel. You have to continue. In fact, one of the things that I never thought in my life was that I would have become a writer. As I said, I truly am a high school dropout. At the age of 14, I was already working. And so I just thought that the first book was it happened just by chance. And when I was doing the book tour in the US, mind you, I went all over. I did like 40 states or something. One of the questions that the people asked me most was, so what's the next book going to be about? And the first time that I heard this, I was very perplexed. I was sort of stuck because I never thought that I was going to, well, that people were expecting me to write a sequel.
Well, we're going to have to go now. But we really appreciate you being with us, Dario Castagno. His books are A Day in Tuscany, Too Much Tuscan Sun, Too Much Tuscan Wine. Dario, thank you very much.
District 9.
District 9, The Contrada. Thanks, Dario. We'll be back with more Furious Fiction.